Respect is not a gift, and it's never handed out freely. It's something you carve out for yourself through discipline, self-control, and unshakable self-respect. If you lack these things, the world will walk all over you. That's the harsh truth. Most people will never respect you, no matter how much effort you put in. You can sacrifice your time, bend over backward, and be the most agreeable person in the room. And still, they will overlook you. Why? Because respect isn't just about how much you do for others. It's about how you carry yourself. It's about the silent signals you send every day through your actions, your energy, and your presence. I had to learn this the hard way. I used to believe that being nice, agreeable, and always available would make people value me. I thought if I helped enough, supported enough, and kept quiet when I should have spoken up, respect would naturally come my way. But I was dead wrong. All I did was make myself smaller in their eyes. The more I tried to be liked, the more I faded into the background. People respect strength, not desperation. They admire conviction, not compliance. And let me tell you something. It wasn't until I started removing the habits that weakened me that things finally changed. I had spent years stuck in a loop, wondering why I was always the one being overlooked, ignored, or taken for granted. But the moment I cut out toxic behaviors, the excuses, the constant need for approval, the fear of saying no, everything shifted. Respect didn't come overnight, but when I stopped caring about pleasing everyone and started honoring myself, something incredible happened. People began to listen. They started treating me differently, not because I demanded respect, but because I started acting like someone who deserved it. And that's the real secret. Respect isn't something others give you. It's something you first give yourself. If you don't demand more from yourself, no one else will. If you carry weakness in your habits, the world will sense it and treat you accordingly. Think about the men and women who truly command respect. They aren't loud. They don't beg for attention. They don't need validation. They walk into a room and you can feel their presence. Why? Because they carry themselves with an inner strength that can't be faked. They've removed the habits that make them look weak, desperate, or insecure. It's time to do the same. If you want respect, you need to strip away the things that are silently destroying it. You need to remove the behaviors that make people question your value. You need to become the kind of person who doesn't just wish for respect, but embodies it. So, listen carefully, because I'm about to reveal the 7 habits that are holding you back. The 7 things that, if left unchecked, will keep you stuck in a cycle where people take you lightly. But if you're willing to remove them, you'll start seeing a shift. People will respond differently to you. You'll notice a power you never had before. Respect is waiting, but only for those strong enough to claim it. Are you ready? Please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more valuable videos. Also share this video. Let's go. 1. Stop playing the blame game. Own your life or lose respect. Let's be brutally honest. Excuses are poison to respect. The moment you start justifying your failures, you hand over your power. You might think your excuse is valid. Maybe traffic was bad. Maybe your coworker didn't send the report on time. Maybe life just threw something unexpected your way. But here's the cold, hard truth. Nobody cares. People don't respect reasons, they respect results. No one is sitting around giving out trophies for almost, or I would have, but the world moves on, and the people who stand tall are the ones who take full responsibility, no matter what happens. I used to be the king of excuses. Always late? It was traffic. Missed a deadline? Someone didn't give me the info on time. Forgot to follow through on a promise? Something urgent came up. I thought as long as I had a valid reason, people would understand. But I was wrong. Over time, I noticed a shift. People stopped counting on me. Friends made plans without me. My boss stopped trusting me with important tasks. Even my family subtly stopped relying on me. And I couldn't figure out why. The truth was simple. Excuses don't make you look responsible. They make you look weak. They tell the world that you're not in control of your own life. And nothing kills respect faster than proving to people that you're unreliable. Whether you're late because you overslept or because of traffic, the end result is the same. You weren't where you were supposed to be. And that's on you. I'll never forget the day it hit me. I had shown up late to work again, blaming the morning rush hour. My boss looked at me and said, "Then why didn't you leave earlier?" That one sentence shattered my entire excuse-making mindset. Because they were right. The truth was, I could have left earlier. I could have planned better. But instead, I wanted to cling to an excuse, expecting sympathy instead of owning my mistake. That's when it clicked. Every excuse I made was an admission that I wasn't in control of my life. And if I didn't believe I had control, why should anyone else believe in me? Excuses are more than just words. They're a mindset. They keep you locked in a victim mentality, always blaming something else for your failures. It's not my fault. I would have, but this happened, so I couldn't. You tell yourself these things enough, and you start believing them. You start thinking you're just unlucky, that life is against you. But here's the harsh reality. Life doesn't care. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's the key to respect. The moment you stop pointing fingers and start owning every single thing that happens in your life, you take back your power. You become the kind of person people trust, the kind of person people respect. And let me tell you something. People are a lot more forgiving when you stop trying to wriggle out of responsibility. If you mess up and just say, "That was my fault. I'll do better next time," you'd be surprised how much more respect you get than if you keep offering excuses. People don't expect perfection, but they do expect accountability. So here's the real takeaway. You have to stop lying to yourself before you can expect others to respect you. Every time you make an excuse, you're telling yourself, "I'm not in control." And if you don't believe in your own power, why would anyone else? Drop the excuses. Own your actions. Respect yourself first. Only then will the world follow. 2. Laziness will cost you everything: respect, trust, and your future. If you're lazy, let me be brutally honest. No one will respect you. And why should they? Respect isn't based on what you could do. It's based on what you actually do. You can have all the talent in the world, all the intelligence, all the big dreams. But if you refuse to put in the work, none of it matters. No one respects potential. People respect effort, discipline, and the ability to show up, even when it's hard. I used to think I could get by on talent alone. I was smart enough to do just enough and still skate by. I figured if I put in the bare minimum, people would still see me as capable. But that was my first mistake. Because the truth is, laziness isn't a lack of ability. It's a lack of effort. And effort is what earns respect. I remember one moment that hit me like a brick. I was part of a group project, and everyone had put in serious effort, except me. I did the usual, showed up at the last minute, threw in a few ideas, and figured my natural skills would carry me through. But when we presented, the difference was clear. The people who had worked hard stood out, and my contribution? It barely existed. And I'll never forget the looks I got afterward. The silent but unmistakable disappointment. People weren't mad at me. They were worse than mad. They were done with me. I had lost their respect, not just because I let them down, but because I had proven something about myself. I wasn't someone who pulled his weight. I wasn't someone they could count on. That moment changed everything. It wasn't about the project. It was about how people saw me. And once people stop expecting much from you, it's over. That's the death of respect. Laziness isn't invisible. You might think people don't notice when you're slacking off, but they do. They notice when you cut corners, when you avoid hard work, when you're just coasting. And worse, laziness is contagious. It drags others down with you. It spreads through teams, friendships, even families. When you consistently avoid effort, people stop expecting anything from you. And when expectations disappear, so does respect. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The obstacle is the way." That means the hard things in life, the things you avoid, are exactly what you need to face. The people who are respected aren't the ones who dodge challenges. They're the ones who push through them. They take on the work no one else wants. They show up when it's inconvenient. They do the difficult things, not because it's easy, but because it makes them stronger. And laziness? It's the opposite of all that. It's choosing comfort over growth. It's convincing yourself that effort isn't necessary. But here's the truth. Every time you choose laziness, you choose to stay small. You shrink in the eyes of others. You shrink in your own mind. And eventually, you become invisible. I had to learn this the hard way. I used to think I was being smart by doing just enough, saving energy and avoiding extra effort. But success isn't about talent or intelligence. It's about persistence, discipline, and showing up when you don't feel like it. People respect those who take action, who work when no one's watching, who refuse to let laziness dictate their lives. Laziness always shows up. It's in the way you carry yourself, the way you talk about your work, the way you approach problems. People can tell when you're just getting by. They can tell when you're not really giving it your all, and it reflects in how they treat you. So if you're lazy, don't expect people to respect you. Don't expect them to trust you with responsibilities. Don't expect them to follow your lead. Because respect is never given to those who sit back and wait. It's given to those who rise up, step forward, and prove, through action, that they deserve it. 3. Look the part or get overlooked. Why appearance shapes respect. Let's cut through the nonsense. How you present yourself matters. And if you neglect your personal appearance, don't expect people to respect you. I know what some people will say, but isn't it shallow to judge someone based on their looks? Maybe on the surface, it seems that way. But the reality is, your appearance is a silent message about how much you respect yourself. And if you don't respect yourself, why would anyone else? I used to be the guy who thought, people should like me for who I am, not what I look like. So I'd roll out of bed, throw on whatever was clean, and show up like I didn't care. I told myself I was being authentic, but in truth, I was just being lazy. And guess what? It showed. People didn't take me seriously. I was overlooked in conversations. I didn't command attention in meetings. I wasn't the kind of person who turned heads when I walked into a room. And one day, it hit me like a train. I walked into an important event looking like a mess. Wrinkled clothes, hair undone, shoes barely clean. And the moment I stepped in, I felt the shift. People barely noticed me. Their body language changed. Their energy toward me was indifferent, maybe even dismissive. Meanwhile, the people who had put in effort, they walked in and owned the room. They carried themselves like they mattered, and people responded to them with instant respect. That was the day I realized something brutal but true. Before you even open your mouth, people have already decided whether to take you seriously. Your personal appearance is a form of nonverbal communication. It tells the world, I respect myself, I take this seriously, and I demand respect in return. And when you don't put in effort, you send the opposite message. I don't care. Now, let's be clear. It's not about wearing designer clothes, having a six-pack, or looking like a model. That's not what earns respect. It's about effort. It's about self-discipline. It's about showing up as the best version of yourself because you value who you are. Think about it. When someone walks into a room disheveled, unkempt, and looking like they just woke up, what's your first thought? Be honest. You probably assume they don't take themselves, or anything else, very seriously. And if they don't care about themselves, why would they care about their work, their responsibilities, their relationships? On the flip side, when someone walks in looking put together, standing tall and exuding confidence, it instantly sets the tone. People listen. They notice. They subconsciously assume this person is competent, capable, and worth paying attention to. That's the power of self-respect. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If you think of yourself as someone unworthy of effort, it will show in how you present yourself, and the world will reflect that back to you. After that embarrassing event, I made a conscious decision to change. I started dressing with intention, not to impress others, but to respect myself. I paid attention to details, grooming, posture, cleanliness. And the shift in how people treated me? Instant. Suddenly, I was being noticed, taken seriously, treated with respect. And most importantly, I respected myself more. Whether we like it or not, people judge based on first impressions. That's reality. And first impressions are heavily influenced by how you present yourself. If you want respect, you have to look like someone who deserves it. Neglecting your appearance sends one loud message: I don't care. And when you don't care, neither will anyone else. Here's the bottom line. Taking care of yourself isn't vanity. It's self-discipline. It's about showing up in the world as the best version of yourself. When you put in effort, people notice. And more importantly, you start to believe in yourself. Stop thinking appearance doesn't matter. It does. It always will. Respect starts with how you carry yourself, inside and out. So take that extra time in the morning. Stand up straighter. Dress with intention. Because when you do, the world won't just notice you, it will respect you. 4. Cross the line. Lose the respect. Why ignoring boundaries destroys trust. If there's one thing that will make people lose respect for you faster than you can blink, it's ignoring their boundaries. Boundaries are not suggestions. They are non-negotiable. They are how people protect their space, their energy, and their peace of mind. And when you dismiss or overlook them, you're sending a clear message. I don't care about your comfort. My needs come first. And let me tell you, no one respects that. I learned this the hard way. I used to think being overly involved in people's lives was a sign of caring. I thought giving unsolicited advice, constantly checking in, and pushing my opinion meant I was a good friend, a good colleague. But the truth? I was suffocating people. And because I didn't understand or respect their boundaries, they didn't respect me in return. There was a time when I had a close friend who started pulling away from me, and I couldn't figure out why. I'd call her every day, text her about every little thing, and constantly insert myself into her problems. I thought I was being supportive. I thought I was helping. But one day, she finally confronted me and said, "I just need some space. It feels like you don't understand that." That hit me like a brick. I wasn't helping. I was overstepping. And in doing so, I had lost her trust and her respect. See, boundaries aren't barriers. They aren't walls meant to keep people out. They are healthy limits that allow relationships to function without resentment. They give people control over their mental, emotional, and physical space. When you ignore someone's boundaries, what you're really saying is, I don't care about your well-being. I only care about what I want. And let's be honest, who's going to respect someone who operates like that? Let's go deeper for a second. Ignoring boundaries isn't just about being pushy. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of respect. Respect isn't just about being polite or kind. It's about recognizing and honoring a person's autonomy. It's about realizing that people have the right to say no, to take space, and to set limits without you making it about you. Think about it. When someone says, "I don't want to talk about this right now," but you keep pushing, what are you really saying? That your curiosity is more important than their feelings. When someone says, "I need some time alone," but you keep reaching out, what are you really telling them? That your need for reassurance is more important than their need for space. When you ignore someone's boundaries, you teach them that they can't trust you to respect them. And the moment trust is gone, respect follows. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Mastery of self is the key to mastery of relationships." That means knowing when to step back, when to listen, and when to respect the space someone is asking for. Once I finally understood this, everything changed. I stopped chasing people. I stopped feeling the need to insert myself into every situation. I learned to let people come to me when they were ready, to trust that if a relationship was real, it didn't need force to sustain itself. And here's the irony. The moment I started respecting other people's boundaries, they started respecting me more. They trusted me. They felt safe around me. They valued me more, not less, because I had become someone who understood the importance of space, autonomy, and emotional well-being. If you want real respect, stop crossing lines that aren't yours to cross. Learn to listen. Learn to step back. Learn to honor the limits that people set, not because you have to, but because you respect them enough to do so. Because in the end, the fastest way to destroy trust, lose respect, and push people away is to prove to them that their boundaries mean nothing to you. 5. Stealing the spotlight, losing the respect. Why taking credit for others' work will ruin you. If you want to destroy your reputation, break trust, and lose respect faster than you can imagine, just start taking credit for someone else's work. It's not just dishonest, it's one of the most self-sabotaging things you can do. At first, it might feel like a shortcut to success. You get the praise, the recognition, the admiration. But here's what most people fail to realize. People always find out the truth. And once they do, the respect you built on false ground crumbles instantly. I learned this lesson the hard way. Early in my career, I wanted to stand out. I was part of a team project, and while I contributed a fair amount, one of my colleagues went above and beyond. But when it came time to present our results, I subtly shifted the spotlight toward myself. I didn't outright lie. I just framed things in a way that made it seem like I had done more than I actually had. At first, it felt great. Compliments rolled in, people were impressed, and I was getting the recognition I craved. But that feeling didn't last, because the truth has a way of surfacing. My colleague figured it out. Others caught on. And the admiration I had soaked in so eagerly, it quickly turned into disappointment, skepticism, and quiet resentment. That's when I realized something that stuck with me forever. Respect isn't earned through shortcuts. It's earned through integrity. It's earned through honesty, collaboration, and the courage to stand on your own achievements instead of stealing someone else's. Stealing credit isn't just about betraying others. It's about betraying yourself. When you take credit for someone else's work, you're sending a loud, unspoken message. I don't trust my own abilities enough to succeed on my own. It's a sign of insecurity, not strength. And nothing kills respect faster than showing the world you're too afraid to stand on your own 2 feet. Think about the long-term damage this habit can do. Once people see you as someone who steals credit, everything changes. Co-workers hesitate to collaborate with you. Friends don't trust you. People keep their ideas and hard work away from you because they know you'll take advantage of them. And worst of all, Once that reputation sticks, it's almost impossible to shake off. I've seen talented people miss out on promotions, lose friendships, and destroy their credibility simply because they developed a reputation for stealing recognition. The damage is real, and it's lasting. Because when you take credit for someone else's effort, you're not just stealing their work, you're stealing their sense of accomplishment. You're robbing them of the satisfaction that comes from being recognized for their contribution. And nothing builds resentment faster than that. Imagine working tirelessly on something, only to have someone else step up and claim it as their own. Imagine that sinking feeling, the frustration, the anger, the betrayal. That's exactly what you're inflicting when you take credit that isn't yours. And let's be clear, taking credit is a form of betrayal. It's telling someone, I see your effort, but I care more about my own success than acknowledging yours. That's a deep breach of trust. And once trust is gone, respect follows. People aren't naive. They know when someone is trying to hog the spotlight. And even if they don't call you out immediately, they remember. Over time, this habit will erode any respect you've built, and you'll find yourself isolated. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying you should downplay your own contributions. If you've worked hard and deserve recognition, own it. But give credit where it's due. Celebrate the efforts of those who helped you along the way. In fact, sharing credit doesn't diminish your success. It amplifies it. It shows confidence. It shows leadership. It shows that you're secure enough in your own abilities to lift others up instead of pulling them down. Marcus Aurelius once said, "What we do now echoes in eternity." If you build your success by stepping on others, the echoes of your actions will come back to haunt you. But if you build your success with integrity, honesty, and fairness, you create a legacy that people admire and respect. So if you've been guilty of this habit, fix it now. Acknowledge your mistake. If you've taken credit for someone else's work, own up to it. Apologize. Make it right. Moving forward, make it a point to always give credit where it's due. Because at the end of the day, true success isn't about tricking people into believing you're great. It's about actually being great. And the only way to do that? Earn respect the right way, by being fair, honest, and willing to share the spotlight. That's the kind of person people admire, trust, and follow.